Hello everyone and welcome to Rollin'-ish. I'm Matt, and in this video we're looking at Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. With the release of the 2024 Player's Handbook and the options provided to us within it, we're taking a retrospective look back at the 2014 Player's Handbook and the supplements that came thereafter, which provided us more subclass options like Xanathar's Guide to Everything and Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. If you haven't done so already, take a look at our class playlist where you're going to find the intro to videos for all the features that you get for each class levels 1 through 20, in addition to the subclass videos for each class and what you get with each. We also did an exploration of the subclasses offered by Xanathar's Guide to Everything, and those videos start with the name XGtE for Xanathar's Guide to Everything, much like this video starts with the tag TCoE for Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Today we're looking at the Paladin subclass options from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything and what was offered to us when this book was released. Now, it starts out with the Oath of Glory subclass option, and to me, these are going to be paladins who are destined to achieve glory through deeds of heroism and strength. They are going to be the ones who train diligently and encourage others to do the same, to quote, stay ready. I think about Oath of Glory in a totally different light than what we're about to review. In fact, if I were to build one, I would likely model the character with low charisma. I know, you need charisma as a paladin to spellcast, but a low charisma Oath of Glory paladin might represent itself as Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. And I'm just saying, who doesn't want to play the braggy paladin who seeks the glory from the acts of heroism? He only does them to get that glory. I think that would be a fun way to roleplay that, but that's just me, folks. Let's talk about some of the tenets from the actual Oath of Glory paladins. Actions over words. Strive to be known by glorious deeds, not words. Challenges are but tests. Face hardships with courage and encourage your allies to face them with you. Hone the body. Like raw stone, your body must be worked so its potential can be realized. So far, this sounds like Gaston to me. I'm sorry. Discipline the soul. You must marshal the discipline to overcome failings within yourself that threaten to dim the glory of you and your friends. Okay, so let's talk about the features that you get at 3rd level when you take this subclass. First, you're going to have access to a bunch of really cool spells. I'm not going to review them all, but I'm going to highlight a few that really stand out to me. At 3rd level, you get Guiding Bolt. This is an attack spell. It's got a really long range of 120 feet. And when you hit, you deal 4d6 radiant damage. And the next attack roll made against that target before the end of my next turn gets advantage as that radiance glows on that target, making them a bullseye. So not only is it a really strong attack spell for a 1st level spell with 4d6 damage, radiant damage at that, it buffs my team by giving them that advantage. I love that. Heroism is going to be able to make you immune to being frightened and give you some temporary HP. Those stand out as really nice to have options in your prepared spells at 3rd level. At 5th level, you get Enhanced Ability and Magic Weapon. So again, Magic Weapon, a lower level spell you get at 5th level that if you don't already have one, or maybe you want another one, you can use this spell to make your weapon magical. So a +1 to attack and damage rolls. And if you upcast this spell later on, you can turn that bonus into a +2 or even a +3 as if you had found or acquired the magic weapon under normal circumstances. At 9th level, you get Protection from Energy and Haste. Haste I want to highlight because this is a really great spell, but it is balanced because it comes with some risk. When you cast this spell, it is concentration for a minute, and the range is someone within 30 feet. You could choose a willing creature that you can see within range. I allow them to use themselves as well. Until the spell ends, the target's speed is doubled. It gains a +2 to its armor class. It gets advantage on dexterity saving throws, and it gains an additional action on each of its turns. That action can be only used to take the attack action, one weapon attack only, so it's not going to repeat your extra attacks. You can dash, disengage, or hide. Here's where it balances. When the spell ends, the target can't move or take actions until after its next turn as a wave of lethargy sweeps over it. So you lose a turn when the spell ends. Now you get this for a minute, which is pretty long, okay? 6 seconds is a round, so we're talking about 10 rounds of combat. Now in my homebrew world, my homebrew game, we consider a minute 3 rounds of combat. I know. Drop your thoughts in the comments. But this is a great spell because it is powerful and it really comes in handy in tough fights and tough situations. But you got to be thinking about your surroundings as your last turn during this concentration approaches. Because if you don't hide or get far away from the action and then the lethargy hits, you're a sitting duck and just a standing target unable to do anything, and you miss a turn. So I myself play a paladin and I have used haste, and I'm seeking a way to hide. It's pretty much a giveaway to my DM that, oh, he's prepping for the lethargy, but hey, I'd rather take that moment and dash as my last extra action to get far away and hide, so my lethargy is not in the middle of all the action. That's just something I do. At 13th level, you get the spells Compulsion and Freedom of Movement. Freedom of Movement is great because you touch a willing creature, and for the duration, they're unaffected by difficult terrain. And so magical effects can't reduce their speed or paralyze or restrain them. The target can also spend 5 feet of movement to automatically escape from non-magical restraints, such as manacles or a creature that has it grappled. So you could just use movement to do that. Again, freedom of movement. That's why that shackles example comes into play, or being grappled comes into play, and difficult terrain is mentioned. Finally, being underwater imposes no penalties on the target's movements or attacks. Without a swim speed, your movement is at difficult terrain, so it's halved, and your attacks are at disadvantage because you're trying to move through water that you're not normally used to. Now, if you have a swim speed, you can ignore that. Or if you have freedom of movement and you don't have a swim speed, you're not going to be limited by the movement. You're not going to get imposed disadvantage on those attacks. So that is really clutch. It's a 4th level spell. It lasts for an hour, and you get that at 13th level. I find that to be very useful. At 17th level, you get Commune and Flame Strike. These are both 5th level spells. Flame Strike is an attack. It creates a 10-foot radius up to 60 feet away, requiring a dex save. On a fail, the creature takes 4d6 fire and 4d6 radiant on a fail, or half as much on a success. If you combine those dice, we're talking about 8d6, and 8d6 is the equivalent to Fireball or Lightning Bolt. Both of those are 3rd level spells. The reason I like Flame Strike so much, even though it's a 5th level spell dealing 3rd level damage, I like it because of the mix between the fire and the radiant damage. It's 46 fire, 46 radiant, so odds are if I come up against something with some kind of resistance to one of those, odds are the other might be full hits. So I like the versatility in the Flame Strike to allow me the higher chance of damage output. While Commune is going to give the ability for me to contact my deity for a minute and ask up to 3 questions that can be answered with a yes or a no answer. I like that as well because there are oftentimes parties argue amongst themselves about what to do next or where to go next. And the Paladin is a holy person or a holy warrior. The fact that they can ask for guidance in that situation with yes or no questions goes a long way for me. Also at 3rd level, you get your Channel Divinity options, and there are 2 with this subclass. First, it's Peerless Athlete. When you use this Channel Divinity, for the next 10 minutes, you have advantage on athletics and acrobatics checks. You can carry, push, drag, and lift twice as much weight as normal, and the distance of your long and high jumps increase by 10 feet. So if you really want to lean into the athletic paladin that is Oath of Glory, and they're like the athlete, this is for you. Or you could choose to use Inspiring Smite. This one's a little bit different. It comes as a bonus action, and when you immediately deal damage to a creature with your Divine Smite, you can use this bonus action to distribute temporary hit points to creatures of your choice within 30 feet of you, which can include you. These temporary hit points are going to be 2d8 plus your level in this class, divided amongst the chosen creatures, including yourself, however you would like. At 7th level, you get Aura of Alacrity. So your walking speed increases by 10 feet. In addition, if you aren't incapacitated, the walking speed of any ally who starts their turn within 5 feet of you increases by 10 feet until the end of that turn. When you reach 18th level in this class, the range of the aura increases to 10 feet. So instead of it being somebody near you within 5 feet, it goes to someone near you within 10 feet. So if your allies are staying close to you, they're going to benefit of your Aura of Alacrity, just like some of the other subclasses have an aura that do similar things to buff yourself and somebody close to you. It's a good way to keep that NPC you're defending close to you, or your teammates that you're trying to fight alongside or defend. So you're staying close. It's a good way to incorporate them and keep them safe. At 15th level, you get Glorious Defense. When you or another creature you can see within 10 feet of you is hit by an attack roll, you can use your reaction to grant a bonus to the target's AC against that attack, potentially causing it to miss. The bonus equals your charisma modifier, a minimum of 1. If the attack misses, you can make one weapon attack against the attacker as part of this reaction, provided the attacker is within your weapon's range. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your charisma modifier, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. This might not be beneficial if you're going to build Gaston in the way that I described earlier in the video, because you're really not helping your target if your charisma modifier is low. But boy, do I want to play an Oath of Glory Paladin a la Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. But this would not be helpful in that situation. That build would be terrible for this. Okay. Living Legend you get at 20th level. As a bonus action, you gain the following benefits for a minute. You're blessed with an otherworldly presence, granting advantage on all charisma checks. You also get once on each of your turns, when you make a weapon attack and miss, you can cause that attack to hit instead. You decide. But it's only once on each of your turns. So no matter what, on each of your turns, you're guaranteed to hit something with this. If you fail a saving throw, you can use your reaction to re-roll it. You must use this new roll. I've actually seen this at the table, and I've seen where it has happened that way. Playing a high level one-shot, I had a Paladin use this feature, turn a critical failure into a normal success, and it was life-saving damage because he was able to take half the damage instead, and it was going to save him from being knocked out, which was great. So this does have its place in the game, and it is beautiful when you pull this out of your sleeve and your DM forgets that you have this, because I forgot, and I went, wait, what? He's like, Living Legend, man. It was a great pull, great moment at the table. Okay, so that's Oath of Glory. You build however you want to build, but one day I shall play a Gaston Oath of Glory low charisma Paladin. It's coming. So for any DMs out there that know this face, it is coming. All right, Oath of the Watchers is next. To me, this is the Night's Watch from Game of Thrones. These are going to be the paladins who are going to protect the realms from extraplanar forces, otherworldly entities, and things like that. They're going to be those who keep a healthy suspicion towards people and their surroundings. And oftentimes in conversation, you may need to win them over because they lean towards distrusting. So that to me screams the Night's Watch from Game of Thrones. I don't know about you, if you're familiar with the series. The tenets of the Watchers are vigilance. The threats you face are cunning, powerful, and subversive. Be ever alert for their corruption. Loyalty. Never accept gifts or favors from fiends or those who truck with them. Stay true to your order, your comrades, and your duty. Discipline. You are the shield against the endless terrors that lie beyond the stars. Your blade must be forever sharp and your mind keen to survive what lies beyond. I mean, you want to play Jon Snow? This is your subclass right here. At 3rd level, the Oath of the Watchers get access to certain spells. Again, I'll highlight some of my favorites. Not going to review them all, but you can in your player's handbook. Detect Magic is very good. This one is concentration, lasts for 10 minutes. It's really yourself, and it involves a 30-foot radius centered on you. Essentially, you can sense magic in this way. And the way I describe it is kind of like what you see in this picture here. Your eyes begin to glow, and magical objects within your range, that 30-foot radius range, will also glow. So you'll know them to be magical. The other part of this spell talks about seeing that faint aura around any visible creature or object in the area that bears magic. So if somebody is invisible by use of a magic item or spell, you might be able to detect them there. There is some back and forth between DMs. I allow it. This spell can penetrate most barriers, but is blocked by 1 foot of stone, an inch of common metal, a thin sheet of lead, or 3 feet of wood or dirt. Another one I like is See Invisibility. This one lasts for an hour. 2nd level spell. You see invisible creatures and objects as if they were visible, and you can see into the ethereal plane. Ethereal creatures and objects appear ghostly and translucent. It's kind of like somebody is putting like a projector over what you're really seeing, and you can see into the plane and this version of the room or area you're in, what it is like in the ethereal plane. that has its importance because a lot of times when hags disappear or hags become invisible, it is either because they truly became invisible or they're hiding in the ethereal plane, because a lot of hags can ethereal walk. So they can jump between planes. And if you're fighting a hag and they're hiding there, they might be trying to summon another creature. They might be trying to heal. And you being able to see what they're doing could have an opportunity to disrupt those things. And that is so strong as a 2nd level spell that you get at 5th level. It is worth utilizing and having prepared in that way. 9th level, you get Counter Spell. This is a great spell. And depending on what you're using, right? Because the use of this spell as it's listed in the book is the 2014 Player's Handbook era version of the spell. The 2024 Player's Handbook version of the spell is slightly different. Essentially, when you cast this spell, it's a 3rd level spell. Any 3rd level spell or lower you're trying to counter automatically is countered. If the spell is cast at a higher level than what you're using to cast Counter Spell, then you need to roll. And the DC you need to beat is going to be 10 plus the spell's level of the spell you're trying to negate. So if I cast a 6th level spell and you're casting a 3rd level counter spell, you need to roll a DC 16, 10 plus the 6th level spell that I'm casting, in order to negate my spell. Now, upcasting this at higher levels interrupts spells of an equal or lesser spell slot. That's the 2014 version. The 2024 version is, oh, well, now that I try to counterspell any kind of spell, it's up to the person casting the original spell to make a Constitution saving throw, or their spell gets countered. So it goes from you rolling to beat to whoever you're trying to counter rolling to maintain, if that makes any sense. So work with your DM on it. Either way, this has made such precious and fun, epic moments at the table, saving your party or you from certain doom or damage or something terrible by casting this spell, and vice versa by, negating something that could have hurt your party, or, stopping, something that is coming in conversation. Maybe a hag is trying to enforce a charm or frightened condition. You could counter that and keep things on an even level. It's got so many great uses and moments that can present itself in play that it's one of the best spells in the game. And the fact that you get it as an Oath of the Watcher is fantastic, because most paladins aren't going to get access to Counterspell. Aura of Purity is a good one. You get it 13th level. This is a 4th level spell. Concentration for 10 minutes, so it's going to last a long time. It is a 30-foot radius centered on you. Essentially, you move, the aura moves with you. Each non-hostile creature that is in your aura, including you, can't become diseased, has resistance to poison damage, and has advantage on saving throws against effects that could cause any of the following conditions: blinded, charmed, deafened, frightened, paralyzed, poisoned, and stunned. That is so versatile against a wide range of enemies that the Aura of Purity is a must-have for a paladin. So I love that spell. Make sure it's prepared when you get to 13th level, because it always comes in handy. Lastly, at 17th level, you get Hold Monster and Scrying. Hold Monster is another great feature, as long as the creature's, we'll call it species, is a monster of some kind. The target must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw or be paralyzed for the duration, which is a minute of your concentration. The range is up to 90 feet, so from far away, you could hold a monster and just make them paralyzed for that minute, losing turns left and right. That way, it's a great crowd control spell. You can focus on maybe the monster's minions, or maybe the monster has some companions that are fighting with it. You could focus on them and keep the bigger bad guy away, or the bigger threat at bay with Hold Monster. Great spell. Also at 3rd level, you get your Channel Divinity options, and in this subclass, there are 2. Watcher's Will is the first. When you use this Channel Divinity, you use an action, can choose any number of creatures you can see within 30 feet of you, up to a number equal to your Charisma modifier. And for 1 minute, you and the chosen creatures have advantage on Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma saving throws. That is important, especially if you're going against a spellcaster. The other Channel Divinity option is Abjure the Extraplanar. You can use your Channel Divinity as an action. You present your holy symbol, and each aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, or fiend within 30 feet of you that can hear you must make a Wisdom saving throw. On a fail, the creature is turned for a minute or until it takes damage. What does turned mean? A turned creature must spend its turns trying to move as far away from you as it can, and it can't willingly end its move in a space within 30 feet of you. For its action, it can only dash or try to escape from an effect that prevents it from moving. If there's nowhere to move, the creature can take the dodge action, which is just going to impose disadvantage on the next attack roll against it. At 7th level, you get Aura of the Sentinel. So this is its aura. This subclass's aura. You emit an aura of alertness while you're not incapacitated. When you and any creatures of your choice within 10 feet of you roll initiative, you all gain a bonus to initiative equal to your proficiency bonus. That's huge, because how many times have you gotten into a combat or an encounter and rolled really poorly on initiative and had to wait as everyone else takes their turn, or the bad guys get their turns and you're just waiting and reacting instead of being proactive in the combat? I need this. I need this aura. I love it. And it gets better because at 18th level, the range of the aura expands to 30 feet. That's amazing. This is a DM's nightmare because as a DM, I like my monsters to go towards the front. Maybe not first in initiative, but like second or third is the sweet spot, I find, as a DM for balanced combat. But if the party is stacking against and ahead of me, there's nothing I can do about it but be the reactor myself, which is fine. It balances combat encounters. I love it as a DM. I love it as a player even more. At 15th level, you get Vigilant Rebuke. Whenever you or a creature you can see within 30 feet of you succeeds on an Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma saving throw, you can use your reaction to deal 2d8 plus your Charisma modifier force damage to that creature that forced the saving throw. So if let's say, hag uses some kind of spell that requires someone I can see within 30 feet to make a Wisdom, Intelligence, or Charisma saving throw, and my teammate or my NPC succeeds, I'm using my reaction to deal force damage to that creature, that hag, that caused the spell to force the saving throw. So just for them choosing to attack in that way and your teammates succeed, this is a buff and dealing damage to the attacker, even when it's not your turn, because it's a reaction. So this is beautiful. So there's some versatile options in here. An aura that helps everyone, a reaction, being able to turn and use Channel Divinity to turn something or get advantage on those saving throws. You know, if I use my Channel Divinity and I give advantage on these type of saving throws, and then perhaps a little later on, they succeed because I gave them advantage, I now get to use this feature and a reaction to deal force damage. This is helping stack your Channel Divinity, which makes Oath of the Watchers a great choice. Okay, 20th level, you get Mortal Bulwark. As a bonus action, you gain the following benefits for a minute. You gain True Sight with a range of 120 feet. If you're not familiar with True Sight is, you can see through normal and magical darkness. You can see objects and creatures that are invisible. Visual illusions appear transparent to you, and you automatically succeed on the saving throws against them, knowing that they are illusions. You can discern any type of creature or object that's been transformed in some way, maybe by a polymorph spell. Hey, that's not a wall sconce. That's actually a door, right? And you can see into the ethereal plane. This is a very unique skill to have. Not a lot of creatures have True Sight, and it is very useful for obvious reasons. You also get advantage on attack rolls against aberrations, celestials, elementals, fae, and fiends. Lovely. When you hit a creature with an attack roll and deal damage to it, you can also force it to make a charisma saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed save, the creature is magically banished to its native plane of existence if it's currently not there. On a successful save, the creature can't be banished by this feature for 24 hours. So be careful on what kind of creature you're trying to banish and know where they're from. You could do so with successful history checks, nature checks, arcana checks, something like that. Talk with your DM about it. If you can discern that, you might save yourself from wasting this, because if they're on their native plane, this doesn't do anything. Okay? On a successful save, the creature can't be banished by this feature for 24 hours. Once you use this bonus action, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend a 5th level spell slot to use it again, giving you some versatility with your Mortal Bulwark. This is a great option and something you should consider. I think Oath of Glory and Oath of the Watchers provide some options to build some very fun and different paladins, and I hope you feel the same way. Have fun building yours. The next video we're going to touch on what Tasha's Cauldron of Everything is offering to the Ranger class. But until then, keep rolling those dice, and we'll see you at the table.